From Washington, this is VOA News. I'm Michael Brown reporting U.S. lawmakers got a rare opportunity to pose questions to the president's national security team and learn about the broad range of options to remove the threat from North Korea. Democratic Senator Chris Coons, a member of the Foreign Relations Committee, attended Wednesday's briefing at the White House.
I was reassured that the Trump administration, Secretary Tillerson and others are consulting all of our allies in the region and China to reduce the likelihood of a miscalculation and misunderstanding. Given the unpredictability of the North Korean regime, though, this is certainly an unsettling situation.
Trump and U.S. officials have repeatedly said all options remain on the table to deal with further North Korean provocations. Meanwhile, a U.S. Navy strike force led by the aircraft carrier USS Carl Vinson is approaching the east coast of the Korean peninsula as an additional show of force to North Korea. South Korea's defense ministry said on Thursday key components of the U.S. missile defense system, also known as THAAD, the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, have been installed, and the system already has a capability of being deployed anywhere. A spokesman for South Korea's defense ministry said the installment of the THAAD battery on Wednesday was done in light of the escalating tensions with North Korea. Still, some in South Korea held protests Wednesday as the THAAD battery arrived amid rumors the system's radar may pose a health hazard. Seoul calls the worries groundless. For details on much more news, we invite you to join us at our website, that is voanews.com. From here in Washington, this is VOA News. A massive explosion in Syria early Thursday hit near the Damascus International Airport, resulting in a fire and questions about its cause. Lebanon's pro-Hezbollah Al-Manar television said the explosion was the result of airstrikes by Israeli warplanes. Reuters reports an Israeli spokesperson declined to comment on the reports of Israeli involvement. So far, there have been no immediate reports of casualties. President Donald Trump unveiled his tax overhaul plan Wednesday that aims to slash corporate taxes by more than 50%, but the plan had no specifics on how it will impact the average citizen. Trump proposed cutting the U.S. corporate tax rate, the highest among the world's industrialized nations, from 35% to 15%. Steve Mnuchin is the U.S. Treasury Secretary.
The overall economic plan consists of massive tax cuts and tax reform, regulatory relief, and renegotiating trade deals. And with that, we will unlock the economic growth that's been held back for too long in this country.
The Trump administration, however, offered no immediate plan to pay for the tax cuts, which some independent economic analysts say that over the next decade could add $2 trillion to nearly $20 trillion in long-term debt the U.S. has already amassed. After reports the president, Trump that is, was considering an executive order to withdraw the United States from the North American Free Trade Agreement, the White House said Wednesday Mr. Trump agreed not to take such action after phone calls with the leaders of Canada and Mexico. Since launching his bid for president, Trump has repeatedly criticized NAFTA, saying the agreement allowed many U.S. jobs to shift to Mexico. Many Mexican officials complain NAFTA has brought slow economic growth despite increased investment in factories and industry. And scientists have developed a compound that both cured and prevented malaria in animals. They say the experimental drug is even effective against resistant strains of the mosquito-borne parasite. as VOA's Jessica Berman reports.
If the experimental drug is effective in humans, it could be a huge breakthrough in the treatment and prevention of malaria, a disease that strikes an estimated 200 million people each year. The parasitic illness is responsible for about 425,000 deaths annually, most of them children in sub-Saharan Africa. Scientists say the compound, called MMV048, blocks the parasite across its multiple life stages, interrupting the infection cycle and potentially curing the disease.
That's Jessica Berman reporting. I'm Michael Brown reporting in Washington.
That's the latest world news from VOA.